Hey guys, Sergeant Davidson, active duty Air Force recruiter for the Huntsville, Alabama region. So if you know anybody in the northern Alabama region who's interested in joining the Air Force, please send them my way and I'll take care of them. Now, this video is going to be covering the whole Meps experience. Meps is Military Entry Processing Station, and it's where you're going to get medically qualified and or take the ASVAB as well to start your military career. This is just for the Air Force. A lot of this will have some same similarities with the other branches, but the timeline and the events I'm about to talk to are specifically geared towards the Air Force. So still some good information here, but just remember this is mostly for the Air Force, and each Meps location is slightly different. When I went through, I processed through the Portland, Oregon one, and it is slightly different from the one I use, which is up in Nashville, Tennessee. So remember that as well. Okay, so just general information over Meps. Meps is where you're going to get medically qualified for military service. It's extremely important that you take it serious. A lot of people, their military career ends up at Meps before it ever begins because they get disqualified either by doing something incorrectly or concealing law violations or medical history, something along those lines, okay? Or discovering an unknown medical condition they never knew about. I sent somebody up one time and they had a heart palpitation that they never knew about. I sent another person who had an allergy they didn't know about until they made it up there. So be very aware of that. It is a very critical step in your military future, okay? So I can't stress that enough. Take Meps extremely serious. But first off, we'll start with a timeline. I like timelines, and I'll break down kind of the whole timeline for you guys, okay? So when I send my folks up to Meps, transportation to get up there, there's 3 different methods, okay? I can either take you, that's only if my shuttle service isn't working, or you can drive yourself. I always recommend the shuttle service because it's about a 2-hour drive from where I'm located to Nashville, and that way you're just putting the wear and tear on your vehicle and you don't get reimbursed for gas. So the shuttle service is the way to go in my opinion. It will take you straight to the hotel that you'll be staying at. So when I send folks up to Meps, I typically do a Sunday, Monday. So they leave the office after receiving this brief that I'm about to give you for Meps. And the shuttle will take them straight to the Embassy Suites Hotel. Super nice. I went and stayed at the Holiday Inn in Portland, Oregon, and it was in a really bad part of the neighborhood, and there was like gunshots and crackheads scurrying around my window. It was crazy. It was not pleasant. But we stayed at the Embassy Suites up in Nashville. It was super nice. The room's gonna be provided for you. The shuttle service, dinner, all the food. You don't gotta worry about anything money-wise. That's very nice. And you'll have your own room due to coronavirus. It's 2020 right now, I'm making this video, so no roommate when you're up at Meps, which is also really nice. So you'll get to the hotel with either driving yourself, me taking you, or the shuttle service. When you get to the hotel, make sure you're courteous to everyone up there, okay? That's the last thing any recruiter wants to get is a phone call saying that you were extremely rude to the hotel staff or other recruits that were up there. So please be nice. Roadhouse rules, #1 rule, be nice. So be professional, be nice. Right now, you gotta stay in your room. You can't go explore Nashville or whichever city you're at due to the coronavirus. But dinner, like I said, is provided. They have a little cafeteria. You go down there, get you some snacks, you take them back up to the room. The following morning, so for most of my recruits, that's gonna be Monday morning. They're gonna wake up real early. The shuttle leaves the hotel at 5:15. So I always tell my recruits to wake up at 4, shower, get refreshed, make their way downstairs, and then once again they'll kind of have like a breakfast buffet. Now this is really important. At the breakfast buffet, make sure that you guys only drink water and a light meal. The reason for that is when I initially started this back in January, I didn't tell my recruits that, and I had one recruit go up there and had like 4 cups of coffee. Then he was all jittery, he was super nervous, and then when they took his blood pressure, it was extremely high. It wasn't due to like an unhealthy lifestyle, he just drank way too much coffee. So now I just tell my folks, go up there, eat something light, stay away from caffeine, okay? Be on the safe side, because that completely ruined that trip for him. He had to wait a couple days and he had to go back up, and it was another 2-day process. So just save yourself the time, make sure you don't have anything with caffeine, okay? One other thing too, when you're at the hotel, make sure you're not drinking alcohol or anything crazy like that. When you do go to Meps, you will be administered a breathalyzer. So even if you're of age, do not drink any alcohol when you're up at Meps or the night prior, okay? After that little buffet, you'll be taken to the Meps site. Before you get in the building, they're gonna have a metal detector. So before, last minute, double check everything. I tell all my recruits, hey, check everything tonight at the hotel. Make sure you got nothing on you. Right before you go through that metal detector, double check again, okay? Because if you go through that metal detector, you're gonna be immediately disqualified if you forgot that you got a little credit card knife, a little pocket knife. Even if it's only an inch long, you will be disqualified. So make sure you have no weapons on you. I always joke around, I say the only weapons you can take up there are these bad boys right here. So no pocket knives, no pepper spray, no guns, nothing, okay? No weapons at all. Once you make it through there, you will then go talk to the Air Force liaisons. They're prior recruiters. They're still in the Air Force. They're going to take care of you. They're going to be kind of your shepherds throughout the day, telling you where you need to go. They are awesome. Our Meps crew is phenomenal. They are super duper good. They're going to take care of you, okay? If you haven't taken the ASVAB yet, that will be typically the first thing that you do right in the morning. So once you talk to the liaisons, they'll set you up and you'll be taking the ASVAB. If you already have a passing ASVAB score and you're good with it, you will then flow right into the medical processing. Now this is dependent from Meps to Meps, and it kind of differs from day to day on the timeline of what you're gonna do. But initially they start with your breathalyzer and your urinalysis, okay? Like I said, you're gonna get administered a breathalyzer and then straight into urinalysis. I warn all of my applicants, you are gonna have a medical professional watching you, okay? They're not gonna be hovering over your shoulder, breathing down your neck, but they will definitely be walking down the line. When I went through 10 years ago, my recruiter didn't tell this to me, so I was kind of a little freaked out. I was like, what are you doing back there, dude? Like, this is weird. If you never had it before, they're just making sure you're not gonna tamper with the sample or anything along those lines, okay? So just be aware of that. It will be a medical professional, and if you're a female, there will be a female. If you're a male, it's gonna be a male in there, okay? So just be ready for that. You'll also get a little vial of blood taken. So if you are queasy of needles and or blood, make sure you look away, okay? If you stand up and pass out and fall on your face, you're gonna be 100% disqualified, and that's gonna end your trip right there, okay? That happened to me when I went up to Meps. Big guy, he was talking really loud. I thought he'd be the last person to have a problem. They took a little vial of blood, he stood up, bam, right down on his face. And then for the rest of the trip, he had a big old ice pack on his head. And while we were doing all the rest of the processing, because he had to wait on the shuttle to come get him. So definitely, if you are afraid of needles and or don't like blood, take your time. If you need extra time, sit there on the bench, you know, get crackers or some juice, 100%. Make sure you're good to go when you get up, because I don't want you to pass out, okay? After that, then you're gonna flow into all of your medical tests. They'll initially knock out your hearing as well. You're gonna take a hearing test. If you've never taken a hearing test, it can also be a little kind of claustrophobic and a little weird. So you'll go into this tiny little box and you'll put on some headphones and you'll be given a clicker. And every time you hear a noise, you hit the clicker. Okay, so make sure you take out any gum, steady your breathing, also close your eyes, it will sharpen your senses for your hearing, because all these medical tests, just like the ASVAB, you want to pass them with flying colors, because if you fail them or do not so well on them, they're going to reduce the amount of jobs that you qualify for. So I tell all of my applicants that it's just like the ASVAB. Look at each one of these medical tests as a test that you want to smash, because it could take your dream job away from you, okay? So you'll do the hearing exam and then you'll flow right into the eye exam. They're going to test your vision acuity, your color vision, and your depth perception, okay? Just like the name implies, they're going to have a test for each one of those. Don't let them rush you through it. These are your tests, okay? So if you need some extra time, take some extra time, okay? After that, you're then gonna flow into the flexibility test. This is when you're gonna do with every applicant that's up there. So there's 20 males up there. You'll be doing this test with 20 males. You'll be down in your underwear as well. And you'll be doing flexibility tests, arm rotations. You'll be doing this crazy thing called the duck walk, where you gotta squat down, put your hands behind your head, and walk like a duck. After that, you'll then get dressed and then line up. And you'll be waiting to have a one-on-one with the doctor, the Meps doctor, okay? This is the most crucial step, because once you get in there, it's gonna be just like a sports physical. You're gonna get completely naked. You're gonna take all your clothes off. The doctor's gonna say, hey, turn your head and cough, bend over and spread them, stuff like that. They're gonna be looking for medical scars and any type of self-harm scars. So make sure that when you first talk to your recruiter that you're 100% honest, because if you have any type of medical marks, anything like that, they're gonna find them up there, and it's best to get that identified right off the bat, because if they find them while you're up there, you're gonna immediately get disqualified, and it's gonna be a harder process to get through the Air Force. So when you have that one-on-one with the doctor too, they're gonna ask you, hey, are you allergic to anything along those lines? let me give you a personal experience that happened to one of my applicants, okay? So this is why Meps is such a tricky kind of spot sometimes. My applicant, he was talking to the doctor, and we'd marked that he had seasonal allergies. And the doctor said, what are some of your symptoms of seasonal allergies? And he said, runny nose, runny eyes, and wheezing. The doctor said, wheezing, that's typically not a symptom of allergies, it's typically asthma. Have you ever had asthma? And he said, I don't know, instead of no or yes. It should have been no because he never had asthma, but he said, I don't know. So the doctor went ahead and diagnosed him with asthma on the spot, even though he never had asthma in his life. That was then on him to come back, gather all the medical documents, and have current tests ran to prove that he didn't have asthma, which slowed his process of joining by 2 months, and he had all those additional doctor trips, which cost money and stuff like that. So when you go up there, be very professional, be polite, yes, no, tell the truth, but don't leave any gray area. If he would have said, no, sir, I've never had asthma, that would have given the doctor no wiggle room to diagnose him with asthma. So be very careful, take your time when you're up there, and be very nice. After that, you will then be complete with your medical qualifications. You'll go back and see the liaisons. You'll have one final test called the X Factor. It's kind of like a modified clean. It's just to see how much weight you can lift, because some jobs have a weight limit. My previous career field, fuels, for example, you have to do 100 pounds, which is the max on the X Factor, because you have to carry big fuel hoses. Same with fire protection or to become a firefighter. So if you want those jobs, make sure you know that you're gonna have to do at least 100 pounds on the X Factor. The minimum is 40. I've never had anyone not be able to do 40. It's not too bad. Most females can do about 80. So you can definitely get the max of 100 for most people. But based off your medical qualifications and your ASVAB score, when you sit down with liaisons after doing that X Factor, is when they're gonna hand you your job list. Those are all the jobs that you qualified for the Air Force. Like I said in a previous video, at that point you can start doing your research, and you know that you're gonna have to make, let's say you qualified for 100 jobs, you're gonna have to make a list of 8 jobs that you love when you come back, and you're gonna get one of those 8 jobs, okay? Other squadrons are gonna be different. Some make you list 12, some make you list 16. So our particular squadron, you have to list 8 jobs. And the only caveat to those 8 jobs is no more than 2 medical, because they're so rare, you can't have more than 2 medical. After that, you then swear into the delayed entry program of the United States Air Force. A lot of people are confused about this. This is not your enlistment. This is just the delayed entry program. This is saying you're committing to the Air Force, and it does have some extra steps, but you haven't started your enlistment yet. Your enlistment doesn't start until you ship out for basic, okay? So once again, you're not in the Air Force yet. Then you get on the shuttle and you come back, and that's when we do our job counseling. You get your 8 jobs listed. For me personally, I take your picture. Your signature goes up on the flag. You also get an awesome swag bag. I just fill it up with a whole bunch of Air Force goodies, and I tell you the DEP responsibilities, and I give you a whole bunch of memory work and things to prepare you for basic, okay? So this is a rough timeline of the whole Meps experience. I'm sorry if I made it a little bit too long, and this is for our particular squadron. There's gonna be very close similarities to a lot of Air Force recruiters, but that's how my process works. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please drop in the comments below, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. All right, see you guys.